glad you are here as we continue our journey into educational psychology. Today, we shift from theory into practice, asking how do behaviorist strategies show up in classrooms? What works and what does not? And what are their strengths and limitations? Previously, we explored behaviorism, a theory that views learning as change in observable behavior shaped by environment through conditioning, reinforcement, and consequences. We examined both classical and operant conditioning, seeing how rewards and consequences influence behavior daily in real classrooms. It's practical, powerful framework, still tied up into how many teachers guide behavior and structure learning. With that foundation, let's explore behaviorism in action. Let's get started. Behavioral strategies are widely used in classroom to guide student behavior, build habits, and promote academic success. Let's look at some most common and effective applications. ABC method. Antecedent behavior. Consequence. The ABC model is a tool teachers use to analyze behavior. Antecedent. What happens before the behavior? Behavior. What exactly did the student do? Consequence. What followed the behavior? By identifying these patterns, teachers can adjust classroom routines to prevent misbehavior or encourage positive actions. For instance, if a child misbehaves during transitions, the antecedent might be lack of clear instructions. Adjusting the antecedent, like giving a visual timer, can reduce the problem. Let's say it's just after lunch and every day like clockwork. A student named Michael starts shouting and acting out when it's time to be independent reading. Using the ABC method, the teacher breaks it down. The antecedent right before reading. Students are told to clean up fast and grab books without much direction. The behavior, Michael yells and knock over a chair. The consequence, he is sent out of the room and misses reading time. But here's the thing, maybe Michael does not enjoy reading because he struggles with it. And being sent out actually relieves him of that uncomfortable task. So the consequence might unintentionally be reinforcing the behavior. Now the teacher adjusts the antecedent. She gives a 5-minute transition warning, assigns Michael a buddy for sport, and offers him a choice between 2 simpler books. After a week, Michael's behavior improves, not because he was punished more harshly, but because the environment changed. That's the power of ABC model. It helps teachers see why a behavior is happening, not just how to stop it. Reinforcement schedules. Teachers use reinforcement schedule to build independence. First, continuous reinforcement rewarding every instance makes the connection clear. Later, partial reinforcement reduces rewards, encouraging behavior even without immediate benefits. This shift helps students from habits learning that good behavior holds it on value beyond constant praise or tangible rewards. For example, a teacher might initially reward a child every time they raise their hand. Later, once the habit forms, they switch to only praising the behavior occasionally or at the end of the class. Let's take a real example. In Mrs. Linda's third grade class, one student, Adam, struggled with staying in his seat during independent work. At first, every 5 minutes, he stays seated and focused. He earns a sticker. It's consistent. Every time it works. After a few days, Adam is doing better. Then Miss Linda adjusts. Now he got a sticker only once every 15 or 20 minutes. And eventually, just verbal praise. By the second week, Adam is staying seated not because he expects a reward but because he knows what's expected and feels proud of doing it. That's the power of reinforcement schedules. Starting strong with sport and then easing back so students can stand on their own. Token economy. Teachers use token systems to encourage positive behavior. Students earn points, stickers, or tokens for actions like helping classmates or following directions, then trade them for prizes or privileges. These systems reward behavior, teach delayed fulfillment and self-monitoring, and give concrete feedback, especially helpful for students with attention or impulse control challenges. Let's walk through a real example. In Mr. Rowe's 5th grade classroom, he uses a classroom cash system. Each student has a little envelope in their desk. When a student is caught doing something positive, helping a peer, finishing their work on time, or participating respectfully, they can earn 1 or 2 classroom cash. On Fridays, students can visit the class store where they can trade their cash for different items, pencils, bookmarks, sitting in the teacher's chair, or even skipping one homework assignment. One student, Sophia, initially struggled to stay on task. But once she started earning cash for staying focused for 15 minutes intervals, her motivation mounted. She even started setting her own goals, like saving up 10 cash for a bigger reward. Over time, she needed fewer reminders and was more confident in her ability to manage herself. That's the power of token system. They return good behavior into habit, not just a moment. Shaping and chaining. Shaping breaks complex tasks into small, reinforced steps. Chaining links those steps into a smooth sequence, guiding students from isolated actions to mastering a complete skills one manageable stage at a time. Let's look at a classroom example. Imagine a student named Sam who struggles with writing. The idea of writing a full sentence distresses him. So his teacher, Miss Kate, starts small. One day one. She encourages Sam just to write a single word in response to a prompt. When he does, she praises him. The next day, she asks for a short phrase like my dog or blue ball or give a small reward for trying. After a week, she encourages him to write a full sentence like, "My dog runs fast." Every small step along the way is celebrated. Then she begins chaining those parts together. First a sentence, then two linked sentences, and then eventually a full paragraph with guidance at each stage. Over time, Sam's fear of writing fades. He begins to feel capable because he is not being judged for what he cannot do yet, but encouraged for what he can. That's the power of shaping and chaining, breaking down big goals into effective wins, then building them into something bigger. It promotes confidence, mastery, and real learning one step at a time. The PREMAC principle. The PREMAC principle uses a preferred activity as a reward for completing a less preferred task. By natural interest, teachers motivate positive behavior, encourage responsibility, and build self-regulation without relying on tangible rewards. Let's take a real life example. At home, a boy named Ben loves playing video games but avoids doing his math homework. His mom knows this, so she sets a clear boundary. Finish your math worksheet, then you can play 30 minutes of Minecraft. At first, Ben resists, but the desire to play is strong enough to push him through the work. Over a few weeks, the routine sticks. He finishes his work quicker, more independently, and eventually without reminders because the reward feels worth it. That's the PREMAC principle in action. Simple, clear, and surprisingly effective, both at home and in the classroom. As effective and practical as these techniques are, no single approach fits every situation. In our final section, let's consider the strengths and limitations of behaviorism in education and how to apply it thoughtfully. As we wrap up, it's important to reflect on strengths and limitations of behaviorism, especially in educational settings. Strengths of behaviorism: structure consistency, maintains classroom order, observable behavior track progress, effective for routines, basic skills, manage large groups. Limitations of behaviorism: overlooks thoughts, emotions, and motivations. External rewards may reduce internal drive. Oversimplifies behaviors, ignoring individual differences. To conclude, behaviorism shapes behavior ethically through consistency and fairness, helping students link classroom learning to meaningful real-world experiences. Thank you for joining this session. I hope it clarified behaviorism's core concepts. Assalamu alaikum and goodbye for now.